A new limited time seasonal banner is here and it introduces a new theme, Hot Springs. This banner features Onsen, or Japanese hot springs versions of Ryoma, Sakura, Elise, and Hinoka. We'll be taking a look at their stats, any new weapons or skills they have, and then a few build ideas. We have quite a bit of new stuff to talk about, so let's get started. First up, we have Ryoma, who is taking up the lance this time. He is a flying lancer and has 40 HP, 35 attack, 36 speed, 28 defense, and 23 resistance. With his stat line, Hot Springs Ryoma fits right into the strong offensive group of lance flyers and is very similar to units like Tana and Cordelia. 35 attack, 36 speed is fantastic, and he has decent bulk too. If you like Ryoma, then this version will be a good unit all around. In terms of old skills, Hot Springs Ryoma is stacked, coming with a bunch of newer rare skills that are all good. His special is Luna, which is perfectly fine for him. His A skill is attack and defense solo, which is a really good skill, granting +6 attack and defense if Ryoma is by himself. If you missed out on Winter Ephraim, here is your second chance to get this skill. Chill Speed is a great B skill, and crippling the fastest enemy with -7 speed every turn is a great asset. Ryoma's C skill is Odd Defense Wave, and it grants him and adjacent allies +6 defense on odd number turns. It stacks with attack and defense solo, and it's a great buffing skill. If you get extra copies of Hot Springs Ryoma that you don't want, well, he has top tier skill fodder. Now for Hot Springs Ryoma's one new skill, it's his weapon, which is called its Curtains Plus. Quite the odd name, but its Curtains Plus is a 14 might lance that grants -2 special cooldown at the start of turn 1. It's also inheritable, so if you're familiar with Quick and Pulsed or other similar skills, this is the same thing, just that it grants -2 cooldown instead of -1. So this effect will only occur one time, which means it's a strong weapon if Ryoma only ends up fighting one battle, but may not be as effective as a general slaying lance if he has to battle multiple times. Its curtains may find some usage from special spiral or heavy blade type effects, special spiral especially since its weakness is getting that first special activation. Overall, its curtains will be very comparable to a slaying lance, but it will be especially effective when paired with more skills with instant cooldown reduction that can grant first round special procs. Speaking of which, with Hot Springs Ryoma's great base kit, we can easily add on the Quick and Pulse Sacred Seal for an instantly ready Luna on turn 1. If you aren't looking for any major changes, this is a great setup for very generous single battles and things like doing the Training Tower quest or grinding out Tempest Trials. Ryoma will definitely want to be on the attack, and with attack and defense solo, he'll be a great attacker. I would refine its Curtains lance with extra speed, since that puts Ryoma at a very solid 39 speed. With the extra HP and potential +6 or +12 defense from Odd Defense Wave, Ryoma may stay healthy enough to get into another brawl and recharge Luna. If you were to give its Curtains Plus to an infantry unit, you could take this build even further by giving that unit infantry pulse support. Heck, if you have a fully charged Ignis or Astra, that would be a lot of fun, and you bypass all the powerful skills that have guard these days. Now, as I mentioned beforehand, Hot Springs Ryoma has a great offensive stat line at 35 attack, 36 base speed. As such, he is another prime candidate for the general FIRESWEEP lance build that so many other lance flyers can also run. It's a strong setup, and if you don't have a good Cordelia or one of the rarer choices, then this Ryoma can be your man. Ideally, you want a plus attack or plus speed boon, and you have Honed Flyers buff supporting him. You can go with Life and Death, Attack and Speed Solo, or Swift Sparrow. This Ryoma has decent bulk and should be able to take a hit, although that's riskier with Life and Death equipped. Hit and Run is a nice B skill for this type of build, but Ryoma's Chill Speed is another good choice to ensure he doubles even the fastest enemy. If you aren't feeling like running a FIRESWEEP lance or using the Its Curtains Plus lance, you could just always go with the good old Slaying lance. Ryoma is just a solid unit in general, and he'll be great no matter what you want to do with him. Moving on to Sakura, she's actually going to be our second flying healer. That's a pretty unique typing, so it's definitely worth it to try and get her. Now her stats are 36 HP, 35 attack, 32 speed, 26 defense, and 20 resistance. 35 attack ties for second highest among all the healers, and 32 speed is great to help avoid taking multiple hits. While her HP, defense, and res aren't spectacular, they aren't the worst out there, and Sakura should be able to take at least one good hit unless it's from like a 60+ attack enemy. Nothing game breaking in terms of stats, but solid when compared to most other healers. Hot Springs Sakura comes with two old skills. Physic Plus is actually pretty good for a flying healer because she can use her mobility to stay away from the action while also still being able to heal the team. Her B skill is Wrathful Staff, and it allows Sakura to deal full damage. With 35 base attack, she should be able to get some solid hits in, and that's nice to have if you need some extra damage. Sakura has a new inheritable staff called the Grand Scratcher Plus. It is literally a back scratcher. Now the Grand Scratcher Plus is a 12 might staff that at the start of turn 1 will grant -1 special cooldown to the ally with the highest attack, so it's kind of like a quicken pulse for your highest attack ally. If you paired Hot Springs Sakura with Hot Springs Ryoma and his Its Curtains Lance, then he would be able to fully charge Luna on turn 1. That is assuming Ryoma was your highest attack ally on the team, although if you can manage to make a team with all the same attack stat, then you can have a lot of fun. Now since this effect only works once per battle, it's best for a short single battle like in Arena. It's a great weapon because usually your highest attack unit will be one of your damage dealers, and getting them one less special cooldown can really help them out. Sakura's next new skill is Fire Flood Bomb Plus. This grants +6 attack and res to all allies when it procs, and Sakura just needs to heal an ally when it's ready. Not much to say about these specials other than that they are pretty good, and a global buff can really save the team when they get split up. Lastly, we have Speed Opening, which is our second opening type skill. At the start of the turn, it grants +6 speed to the ally with the highest speed stat. Like with Attack Opening or the Grand Scratcher, if you manage to find multiple units with the same speed stat, you can apply the buff to all of them. Now this skill is great because there are a lot of fast units who tend to live or die by their speed stat. Whether it's to prevent doubles or activate skills like Flashing Blade, an extra 6 speed every turn is very powerful. Being able to apply this buff from anywhere is also great, and Sakura can just hide in the back, heal with Physic, and still provide buffs to at least someone. In terms of builds, healers always have a ton of options. Grand Scratcher Plus is very unique and can open up some cool strategies with the right allies. Physic is great for a flying healer, and Fire Flood Bomb can provide attack buffs to go along with the speed buffs from Speed Opening. With Wrathful Staff equipped by default, you can upgrade the Grand Scratcher with the Dazzling Staff upgrade, and Sakura becomes a colorless mage. Give her some speed increasing skills and buffs, and she can dish out some decent damage on her own while not taking any counterattacks back. In my opinion, Sakura is a solid healer, and she comes with some fun new skills to play around with. Our third Hot Springs unit is Elise, who has replaced Takumi in the Hoshiden Bath Time Party, although he did get a summer alt, so I guess he got left at the beach. Elise is another unique unit type, being a Red Dagger Cavalier. She is only our second Red Dagger unit, our second Calvert Dagger unit, and is the first of her kind. Her stats include 34 HP, 33 attack, 37 speed, 18 defense, and 23 resistance, very similar to Summer Lind, our other Cavalry Dagger unit, with decent attack and good speed. Elise keeps her rather frail physical bulk, and now she also isn't that magically tanky either. Any solid hit from a blue unit will probably KO her in one hit, so keep her away from those. With her stat line, Elise is going to want to be on the offensive. For her skills, Elise comes with Rally Up Attack Plus. I would kind of hope we would get another version of the Rally Up skills, but it's the same variant as Ophelia's. If you aren't familiar, these rally skills grant a nice +6 attack to the target and all allies within 2 spaces. It's a very powerful rally skill in defensive formations. For her A skill, Elise has Swift Sparrow 2, which is basically a classic at this point. Obviously not a bad skill for an offensive oriented unit like Elise. Her C skill is Dagger Valor, which just grants double SP to Dagger allies. It's a purely quality of life skill for training and does nothing in combat, so you can easily replace it with anything you want. For her new weapon, Elise has the Red Hot Ducks Plus. It's an inheritable dagger, and just a reminder that colored daggers and archers can share their weapons with all color types. The Red Hot Ducks is a 12 might dagger that has on-hit true damage based on speed. This is the same as Naesala, Carla, and Flying Nino. Basically, you just need to know that if Elise is 10 or more points faster than her opponent, she will get the maximum +7 bonus true damage. Any lower than 10 speed and that bonus damage decreases until Elise gets outsped herself. Assuming this dagger can be stat refined, it's obvious you should pick the extra +2 speed upgrade. I would say that Hot Springs Elise is in a good spot to use this weapon with 37 base speed, although she definitely wants to get faster to get the full potential out of it. Now for Elise's other skill, Attack Feint. I thought this skill line was left for dead, but it's risen from the grave for a comeback. If Elise uses a rally skill or an ally uses a rally skill on her, then she inflicts -7 attack to all foes in all cardinal directions from where Elise is at. So this is a long range debuffing skill and can be a bit tough to use. Its effectiveness depends on positioning, and it can be a good skill since it debuffs from so far away. Now I've used Defense Feint on my Summer Innis, and to be honest, I'm not particularly a big fan of these skills. I think they are okay and they can be effective, but it takes up the B slot and there are just way too many other good skills in that same slot. Maybe if it was a Sacred Seal or something, I would use it more, but you may feel differently. At least with Aether Raids out now, I would say the Feint skills aren't bad options for offense or defensive teams. For this first build, we can try to work around attack feint as well as rally attack up plus. Since we are buffing up multiple team members, we can add the tactic skills to also buff multiple allies. With attack feint, you want to position Elise in line with the enemies and then buff an ally. This would work best in a team that has good enemy phase units to bait attacks. Elise can help reduce the enemy's attack stat and buff her team's defense. She can still deal some decent damage with red hot ducks, but with only Swift Sparrow, Elise will probably need more speed buffs to ensure she gets the full amount of extra damage. For a more offensive setup, you'll probably want to ditch attack feint for desperation. While Swift Sparrow can work with desperation, I'm a fan of the classic Fury 3. Fury also helps get Elise a little extra bulk to prevent one-shots. So this build is always good on faster characters who aren't very tanky. Desperation helps protect them from counterattacks and improves their damage output. If you want, you can use Phantom Speed with Red Hot Ducks, but keep in mind it does not help get follow-up attacks to activate desperation. If you aren't a fan of Red Hot Ducks' whole speed focused mechanic, you can swap it out for a slaying dagger such as the Barbed Shuriken. You can also just use speed plus 3 instead of Phantom Speed. Hot Springs Elise probably won't be a super prevalent unit, but 3 movement cavalry can cause a lot of chaos, and with dagger debuffs and effects. You can try to play to the power of debuffs more with attack feint, but I think Elise will just be better off trying to take out green units. Our last unit today is Hot Springs Hinoka. She is our 3rd green dagger unit as well as our 1st flying green dagger unit. Hinoka comes with 30 HP, 35 attack, 35 speed, 16 defense, and 26 resistance. Like pretty much everyone in this banner, her attack and speed are both good. Hinoka's physical bulk is a little low, but her res is in a better spot. She'll definitely want to stick to staying on the offensive. For old skills, Hinoka comes with drawback. For her assist skill, her A skill is attack and speed bond, which grants plus 5 attack and speed when next to any ally. Her B skill is attack and speed link, which grants a plus 6 attack and speed field buff to Hinoka and an ally when either of them use a movement assist skill such as drawback. If both of these skills are active, Hinoka is looking at plus 11 attack and speed, which is pretty great. That will be easier said than done, however. I'm surprised there are no unique legendary weapons this banner, and Hot Springs Hinoka introduces another inheritable dagger. It's called the Splashy Bucket Plus, and it's a 12-might dagger. It is effective against dragons, and it disables both adaptive damage and Wrathful Staff effects. This is a pretty awesome inheritable weapon. Giving ranged units the ability to nullify adaptive damage is amazing, plus it deals extra damage to dragons too. In my opinion, this is a way better dragon killing dagger than the Cloud Myogi. While Hardy Bearing is nice, it means the user can't use desperation. With Splashy Bucket, high res dagger units can take hits from dragons and they are still allowed to use desperation, which is a very vital tool for squishy ranged units. Now regarding the nullification of Wrathful Staff, you can pair the Splashy Bucket with the new Null C Disrupt B skill on infantry daggers to completely cripple all these scary staff units out there. Not only do they deal half damage again, but your dagger unit can counterattack since Dazzling Staff would be disabled too. Not a very cheap build by any means, and I'm not entirely sure who would be the best user of it, but it's something to think about if you struggle with units like Brave Veronica. Hot Springs Hinoka does have another new skill, and it's called Air Orders. This is a flyer only skill that grants a new status effect to adjacent flyer allies. This status lets them move to a space adjacent to any ally within 2 spaces. So I believe this status effectively combines flyer formation and aerobatics. This can be good if you run multiple flyers and you want all kinds of mobility shenanigans. However, I'm not really sure if it's a great skill for mixed teams. If this skill was like Armor March and granted the user these status as well, then I would say it's a bit stronger. Now the advantage of Air Orders is that it frees up your allies' beast slots and Sacred Seal slots from having to run those 2 specific skills. Both are valuable slots, so freeing them up can be beneficial. I think this is a alright ability, but I would have to test it out myself. So I'm only going to talk about one main build for Hot Springs Hinoka, and that's a dragon killing build. My other suggestion would literally just be the same as for Elise, which is Fury and Desperation, because she's not exactly going to be tanking much unless you want to try a blue mage counter build. Now for killing dragons, Hinoka already has a way to stack a bunch of attack and of course her dragon effectiveness bucket. In an ideal situation, you would be able to activate attack and speed bond and attack and speed link. Since we have an attack and speed bond Sacred Seal, why not add that too? If you manage to activate all 3 skills, that's plus 16 extra attack and speed, which is just ridiculous. Now personally, I'm really not a big fan of attack and speed bond in the A slot for my offensive attackers. Practically speaking, in most battles, I have them move away from the team to attack an enemy, and that won't activate the bond skills. If it's not working out for you, I would just recommend sticking with Death Blow 3, 4, or even Sturdy Impact if you wanted. Throw on the attack plus 3 Sacred Seal, and Hinoka still reaches a very respectable amount of attack and speed to fight dragons. If she doesn't one-shot them, she should be able to take a hit, and plus she should be faster than most dragons to deal with them anyway. If you don't have Julia or Deirdre, then Hot Springs Hinoka might be what you're looking for if you lack a green dragon killer. That about wraps things up. If you aren't summoning, then be ready for the next Tempest Trials, which I believe is coming tomorrow. We are getting a free Camilla, and according to the data miner, she has honed flyers, which is just amazing. We're also looking at some really good secret seals. I wouldn't say they are confirmed just yet, but we just have to wait one day to find out for sure. Stay tuned for my video on this event, and I'll talk about things in more detail. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you're summoning any of our Hot Springs units, and I'll see you guys soon.